What's chirpin', crickets? This is Kim from Kim Takes On. I'm Kim. Hi. And this is my co-host, co-producer, and minister of all things wacky, Terrence the Wonder Duck. Terrence says hello. He hopes you're all having a terrific week so far and had a great weekend. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, it's spooky season still. So excited. So today we are going to talk about my top 10 of the maddest mad scientists. Yes, the mad scientist trope, one of my personal favorites because it's a chance to really express yourself as a thespian, I feel. Terrence would like to add that that's Kim speak for you get to overact. Isn't he just so sweet when he's honest? It's just so much fun. So here we go with my top 10 list, and I will list why all of these rather not very nice doctors, although one of them actually starts out on the right path of things, but every one of them is taken, here's the Hippocratic Oath, here's the open window, yeet! Or yeet whichever way, because my direction sense is always off when I do these things. So starting with number 10, we have Dr. Carl Stoner from 1973's... No, I haven't sprung a leak. What do you think is fake on? Don't you even suggest that. Dirty-minded duck. I'll have you know they are real, and they're fabulous. Anyway, no. Is the actual name of a movie, which is about snakes. So I'm being nice and I'm being upfront. If you have a hang up about snakes, don't see this movie. Just being honest with you because it won't help. Dr. Carl Stoner is of the opinion that humanity is headed toward ruin, and the only way we will survive the upcoming apocalypse is by merging human DNA with snake DNA and making a being that will survive whatever our future is going to be, because that is where we will be in the future. What up, Criswell? So he's at least done this experiment with one other lab assistant. That didn't turn out too well. That guy winds up as an exhibit in a carnival sideshow as a half snake, half man person. And we follow his new lab assistant / lab rat, a young man named David, played by Dirk Benedict. And before I get going any further, spoilers alert all the way through these movies. By the end of the movie, David, because of Dr. Stoner's injections, has been transformed into a king cobra. And the end of the movie is an open-ended freeze frame, and I hate that. I hate that. Terrence hates that. That is not how things go in this house. I remember watching that the first time I saw this movie and going, movie, don't you dare end here. Don't you do it. But he's a pretty mad doctor. He's on the lower end. He's on the lower key of like mad behavior, like no moo-ha-has or anything like that, but he's still pretty crackers. So next on my list, Dr. Frank Infurter from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Now I know some people just went, what the F? Why is he number 9? That's Tim Curry. What the heck are you talking about? You should be slapped in the face with a fish. Well, on the list, as we keep going up, we're going to wind up with some people that have done some pretty worse stuff. I mean, creating a human being, I guess is what Rocky is, and using him for... I don't think I want to finish that. I don't want this video to get like flagged or something. And going at somebody else with a pickaxe, okay, that wasn't cool. But when you consider the fact that Dr. Furter is not from around here, maybe they do things differently on the planet Transsexual in the galaxy of Transylvania. I don't know. I've never been there. But he's number 9 because he looks better in a pair of fishnets than I do. Always has, probably always will. Number 8 on my list is actually, I feel really bad for this gentleman because he actually starts out with altruistic intentions. From the 1945 film House of Dracula, we have Dr. Franz Edelman. Now, Dr. Edelman runs a clinic for monsters or for people afflicted with really weird stuff, like the fact that you turn into a werewolf when the moon is full. So guess who shows up asking for help? Yep, Lawrence Talbot, played by Lon Chaney Jr. I do need to, Dr. Edelman is played by Onslow Stevens. I wanted to get that out there. And, you know, Larry's doing his whole Larry Talbot thing. I'm cursed. You have to help me, blah, 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 blah. So this is one of Universal's movies where they decided to take almost all of their monsters and throw them in one movie and see what happens. Also showing up at this doctor's establishment is Count Dracula, played by John Carradine. It's John Carradine. I'm not going to say anything bad. And I'm not bringing up Red Zone Cuba, so don't even you start. And if you start singing Nitrate to Mundo Fine, you can just go stand in the corner. You have to be firm with ducks sometimes. Anyway, so Dracula shows up and he's all like, I'm tired of being a foul, evil, undead sing, but at least I don't sparkle. And he wants to be cured. And the doctor's like, okay, well, we'll try and cure you. And as it turns out, the doctor finds out that there is something in Dracula's blood that is a contagion, that apparently evil is a physical disease. I am not even going to try and get into the philosophical debates on that one because I don't have that kind of smarts. The doctor winds up taking some of Dracula's blood and trying to find a way to cure this whole thing. Makes an altruistic, albeit forehead-slappingly stupid idea of testing it on himself. This has the side effect of driving the doctor batshit crazy and turning him into a murderer. Oopsie doodle. But I actually do feel bad for him, and he doesn't make it to the end of the movie. I mean, of course, by then he's gone completely around the twist, but still, I do feel bad. Also from 1945, we have House of Frankenstein, which is another one of these throw every monster we've got in here and see if it sticks. But we don't have a nice doctor in this one. We have a not nice doctor. Dr. Gustav Niemann, played by Boris Karloff. Yay! Boris Karloff is one of Taryn's favorite actors, so he has taste about that. Dr. Niemann, when we first meet him, is in jail. He is in jail is like a big castle-y prison doohickey thing. Because he was like experimenting with stuff that the local constabulary were like, hey, you can't do that. And so his whole thing is he wants to continue on in the footsteps of Dr. Frankenstein because that worked out so friggin' well. There is a natural disaster that Dr. Niemann and his cellmate, a youngish man, named Daniel, who is a hunchback, they wind up fleeing prison and taking control of a small traveling horror carnival, which they do by killing the owner. Now, the owner of the carnival said, like, oh, I have the actual skeleton of Count Dracula right here. Look at this. Check it out. It's super duper scary. It turns out, yeah, that's not bullshit. It's really Dracula's skeleton. And Dr. Niemann removes the stake, which brings Dracula back to life. I don't know why people do crap like this. I really don't. It's like people in slasher movies. Hey, there was a bunch of grisly murders here. Let's go have sex in the woods. Ugh. Even I'm not that horny. If you say one word, corner, I mean it. Yes, I know you've read my fanfics. Shut up. Anyway, so Dr. Niemann decides, well, I'm going to get back at all those people that put me in jail and said I was crazy, and I'm going to use Count Dracula to help me. He also winds up using the Frankenstein monster, and the Wolfman gets involved, and by the end of the movie, everybody's dead. Dracula dies about halfway through the movie, so if you're a big Dracula fan, this movie is going to disappoint the living crap out of you. And Larry Talbot winds up dying because he's shot to death by the Romani woman that's in love with him. And at some point, Daniel got chucked out a window, I think. And Dr. Dr. Neiman, I apologize, is killed along with the Frankenstein monster. So, I guess it's a happy ending for normal people. I wouldn't know what normal people would look like. I mean, I kind of know what they look like, but I'm kind of like, I'm not interested in that. Next on our list is Dr. Henry Frankenstein from the Universal Classic 1931. Sorry, I have to look off screen for my notes. Frankenstein, played by Colin Clive. Now, I know some people definitely just went, WTF. How can you put him there? He's one of the maddest mad scientists ever. Okay, the reason that Henry's kind of lower on my list is because of someone who's much higher on my list coming later. And also the fact that Henry is actually like, once everything starts going completely wrong, Henry's like, oh, I really effed stuff up. And he's actually remorseful for all of the panic and craziness and death and all that stuff that his creation causes. The one thing I really don't understand about Henry, though, is the fact that you built this thing, this creature, I should say, literally piece by piece. And part of the reason that he rejects it is because he's afraid of what it physically looks like. Sorry, I'm doing the dog hearing a strange noise head tilt thing, but you didn't notice what you were making in no way at all resembled Fabio? You know, it's like, what the heck? But I think at the end of it all, while I do think that Henry is blinded by scientific, I have to know what is beyond the veil of stuff that men are not supposed to know, and all that stuff. I don't think he's a bad person. I think he's a driven person. I think he has obsessive personality, but I don't think he is an evil person. That comes later. But someone who's involved with Dr. Frankenstein in the sequel, 1935's Bride of Frankenstein, is definitely not a nice man. Dr. Septimus Pretorius, which, I'm sorry, why don't you just have a sign around your neck that says, hello, I'm the bad guy? I mean, sheesh. Septimus Pretorius. Why don't you just have a name like Evil McVillain and just get it over with? Portrayed by Ernest Theisger. I probably said that completely wrong, and I do apologize to the gentleman's family. Dr. Pretorius was booted out of medical school because, well, for one thing, he created a bunch of homonuclei, which are little living people that are created from basically seed, and they're grown in little jars. It's kind of an alchemy, Dungeons and Dragons-y kind of thing. Go look it up. But now he's like, well, I've made these. You've made a giant monster. Let's make a female monster and have the two of them. Bow, bow, bow. Let's get it on. Yeah, really. That's what it's like. Let's see if we can get them to do the hibbity dibbity, and then we wind up with little monster babies. What a great idea that is! Said absolutely nobody friggin' ever. And the fact that he is higher than Henry on my list of mad scientists, I know some people will be like, well, why? And I will give you a very simple one sentence answer. He's a creep. He is just a creep. There's a scene where he's in a crypt with a couple of other grave robbers, one of whom is played by Dwight Frye. Yay! Dwight Frye alert. Whoop, whoop. And they're looking over the grave of a recently interred young woman. Dr. Pretorius says, I hope her bones are firm. And when I was a very young child, I didn't get that line. I was just kind of like, that seems like a strange thing to say. The thing is, when I got older and I had that line, the line was said on the screen and stuff, I started to think, and I was like, why does he care if her bones are... Oh, I think I'm going to throw up. Because I think he's talking about one specific bone being her pelvis, because it would need to be pretty strong if she's going to be taking the monsters. Mm. Think of that scene from Young Frankenstein towards the end that's not, and think about it with this movie, and it's like, oh, no. He's a creep. And it's just, that's why he's high on my list, because he makes my skin go all crawly and stuff. The next Mad Doctor is Dr. Moreau from the 1932 film, The Island of Lost Souls, which has been remade and probably remade a few more times, under the title The Island of Dr. Moreau. Dr. Moreau, played by Charles Laughton, is a scumbag. He was booted out of London society because he was a vivisectionist. Go look up what that means, because I'm not going to bring it up. I'm not going to define it. I'm just going to say anybody who does stuff like that, F you. You and my inner kaiju would have a lot to talk about, and most of it would be him talking, and he gets real loud when he talks. Because it's gross and sick and disgusting and wrong. But now he's on this island where he's started experimenting on the local fauna and turning animals into half human, half animal creatures. And when you consider the place where these operations take place is called the House of Pain, do I need to skywrite it for you? This man is a son of a bitch, as Stone Cold Steve Austin used to say. Sorry, I can't get that low of a voice, and I don't have any beer around here, so sorry. But he's just awful. He's this amoral, sleazy, selfish, evil, cruel bastard. Can you tell I don't like this character? Like, a lot, or at all? Or anything, because vivisection instantly puts you on my screw you and the horse you rode in on list. So he just made the list. It's 2 wrestling in jokes in one thing. That I don't think I've ever done that before. I deserve a cookie. Okay, going forward, we have from the 1962 film or Exercise in Pain, depending on your point of view, The Brain That Wouldn't Die, or The Head That Wouldn't Die, which is the title card at the end of the movie, so your mileage may vary. We have Dr. Bill Courtner, who was played by actor Jason Evers, who some of you may also know from the classic Star Trek episode Wink of an Eye. Dr. Courtner is a surgeon who is very driven to prove that his research is working. His research being trying to find ways to make transplants easier and more successful for people who need to have something transplanted because they have been in an accident or they have some kind of an issue from birth or something like that. He's also stealing body parts from the hospital he works at to get this done. And I myself, me personally, would have loved to see them throw in a scene of that. Because how do you walk out of a hospital carrying a leg that you didn't walk in with? I mean, what do you do? Put it in a saxophone case? I mean, I don't get it. I'm just like, okay, not sure how that works, but all right. So on his way to his country house / laboratory with his fiancée Jan in the car with him, he gets in an accident and Jan loses a few pounds. Like how much your head normally weighs. I don't know what that is because I might be sick, but I'm not weird. And he winds up taking her head, which, as I mentioned, is no longer attached to her body, with him to the country house, and after going through a science montage, which is like a training montage but less sweaty, he winds up hooking her up to this serum that he's made, and he has her living head in a pan full of this stuff and all kinds of wires and stuff all hooked up to her and crap, because I didn't pay a lot of attention in science class, but I was sitting there going, I don't think this is going to work. And how is she talking? I mean, I would think she might still have vocal cords, because I'm not sure how far the vocal cords go down in the neck, but blah. And he's all like, well, I'm going to get her a new body. Okay. Well, the thing is, his idea of getting her a new body is to go to sleazy bars and hit on strippers. And while he's kind of making out with them, he's like feeling around their neck. I'm like, oh, no, okay. No, okay. See that? See that right there? That's the moral horizon. And we have pole vaulted over that sucker. He is not a nice man. I mean, I know some people would be like, oh, well, he's doing this for love. Bullshit. He's doing it to prove that his neck juice works, his transplant stuff. As it turns out, all of those body parts, yeah, he keeps them behind a locked door, because they're not just body parts anymore. They're like a thing, an actual thing. And it be ugly. And it also winds up causing his demise at the end of the film. Number two. Now, number two, I think you guys will definitely agree with me, deserves this spot. Baron Dr. Victor Frankenstein. Dr. Baron Victor Frankenstein? What do you think? Yeah. We're just going to throw the doctor stuff out there. Baron Victor Frankenstein. Played by the absolutely awesome Peter Cushing. Yay. Also another one of Terrence's favorites. For the Hammer Studios Frankenstein films, of which he did quite a number, starting with The Curse of Frankenstein and ending with Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell. And it is very, 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 very 75 more varies on there. Obvious who the actual monster in each of these movies is. And it's not Christopher Lee in Curse of Frankenstein, and it's not David Prowse in Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell. Yes, the guy that was in the Darth Vader suit was actually the Frankenstein monster at some point, so take that to trivia night with you someday at the bar. You're welcome. No, the monster is Dr. Frankenstein, or Baron Frankenstein, whatever. He is an amoral, egotistical, murderous son of a bitch. He kills a kindly old scientist so he can harvest his brain. I mean, I know Victor did some bad stuff, but everybody that he was experimenting with was already living impaired. So, but he winds up using his monster to kill his maid, who's trying to blackmail him into marrying her, in Curse of Frankenstein. And he doesn't get better through most of the movies. Although in Frankenstein Created Woman, I don't think he's as bad. But that's the only one. Every other film, he's an egotist. He's a narcissist. He's a sexual assaulter in Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed. He's a very, very, very bad person. He would be a bad person even if it wasn't the whole reviving the dead thing. Which brings us to Mad Scientist number one. Now, I know some people are going, but Kim, you just talked about someone that was a murderer and did all these terrible things. How can somebody else be above that? Well, the reason that this person is number one, crickets, is because of something that is usually thought of as part of the Mad Scientist ensemble. And Terrence would like to guess what that is. Okay. You guess. What is something that you usually think of with a mad scientist? interesting hairstyles. He has a point. I mean, look at Rick from Rick and Morty. No, there's no Szechuan sauce around here. Calm down. And there's other doctors out there with wild hair and stuff like that. Gene Wilder in Young Frankenstein. That's Frankenstein. Oh, knock it off. Tons of other ones with crazy hair. Even a mad scientist who might be kind of mad, but is actually pretty nice. Doc Brown from Back to the Future. I mean, that hair's a look. But that's not it. You want to take another guess? A lab coat. Well, no, that's true too. A lot of scientists are known for wearing lab coats, especially the one that's at number 1. But there's one more thing. You're kind of skating around it. Try it again. There you go. Good job, buddy. Terrence said one thing a lot of mad scientists have in common is a plan. Their plan being to, sometimes, the plan is that they're working for somebody else and their plan is to conquer the world. But sometimes the mad scientist wants to conquer the world. They don't want to be the middleman. They want to be the person in charge. And they come up with all of these crazy, fantastical plans how to do that, how to bend humanity to their will, blah, 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 blah. And some of them do it by inventing a freeze ray. Some of them try to turn off the Earth's gravity. Some of them try and, do a shrink ray or turn the entire world's supply of gold into vanilla pudding or turn everybody into guinea pigs or whatever. Not this one. Oh, no, not him. Number 1 on my list of maddest mad movie scientists, Dr. Clayton Forrester, played by Trace Bilyeu, from Mystery Science Theater 3000 from 98 to 1996, and also Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie, from 1996. Dr. Forrester's idea is to conquer the world by finding the worst movie ever made and using that to break people's wills. Oh boy. Apparently nobody's ever told him about the Razzies or the Stinkers or any of the other bad movie things out there, because so many people love watching bad movies. I don't see how this is going to work, but he tries. Oh, bless his heart, he tries. I mean, from between Joel and Mike and Jonah and Emily, he has shown, or his offspring, Kinga, played by Felicia Day, woohoo, have tried to break people's wills by showing some truly terrible films. And it still hasn't worked all these years because some of us like pain. No kink shaming on this show. We're all about acceptance on this show. But he's actually one of my favorite mad scientists because his experiments and all kinds of stuff and his attitude just really make me laugh. And Trace just seems like a really funny, very wonderful guy. So that's why he's my number 1 scientist, my number 1 mad scientist. Do you guys have any favorite mad scientists? I'd love to know who they are. PlatinumRoselle@yahoo.com. And if you could please like this video, share it, click on the little stuff that's going to show up over here that TC is going to put up because he's a smart one in this relationship, and I just have my hair to look cute. And sign up and be part of our little island of misfit toys. We'd super duper appreciate it. And so for another week here on Kim Takes On, I'm still Kim. This is still Terrence. And we hope that you have an awesome week. Hug the ones you love the ones you hug, and keep rocking.